please, just study for 1 hour a day on the LSAT. I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes explaining why that's true and why that small detail could change your entire LSAT journey trajectory. Welcome. This is the LSAT Playbook Episode 1, where we're covering all of the topics you could possibly need to know to ace this test and improve. Let's visit the story of the tortoise and the hare. Now, this is a classic children's tale that I'm sure you've heard before, right? The hare is this arrogant, fast-running bunny. This tortoise is this slow, kind of pudgy loser. But in the end, the hare blows it, and the tortoise ends up winning because of plot reasons, basically. Now, most of you probably walk away from this thinking that's absurd. I know that a rabbit is faster than a turtle. I mean, tortoises are very short, and they don't go very fast. But there's a deeper meaning here, which you don't need media literacy to understand, which is that some things are better done slow and methodically than in brief and sprints. You see, the LSAT is no different. The LSAT is a marathon, not a sprint. You might have heard that phrase online often, and it's probably because I'm one of the people that says it. But the reason why we say that is because it's true. But what it means is that every single day you study and improve at this test is one small step in that marathon. Because there's no way to just accelerate your progress for the sake of speed. Sprinting to the end or cramming all night doesn't work for the LSAT because it's just not that type of test, right? You can't cram the night before like you did for your chemistry exam in high school because these concepts take time to lay into your mind and make sense. They take dedication and practice and consistency. That's why the tortoise wins. Because in LSAT terms, the hare is like that person that goes to a certain company that you can look up from this picture behind me and decides, I'm going to buy the $4,000, this is crazy by the way, this is totally real, $4,000 accelerated course to get you to your LSAT dream. The hare buys this, only eats half a carrot every day because, well, now they're broke, and doesn't actually end up achieving their score. Why? Because you can't accelerate your track. You see, you don't pick your test day and then study for it. You study and then you pick your test day. The mindset of the hare doesn't work in the LSAT because it's just not a sprint. Conversely, let's look at the tortoise. The tortoise understands the complexity of the LSAT, which is that it's actually not complex at all. You just need to study consistently every day in a high quality way. Now, obviously that's easier said than done. And in future videos, I'm going to cover exactly how to study the right way during those high quality hours. But just starting is like half the journey, right? Just getting your foot in the door is going to take you way further on the LSAT than just trying to cram through it. They talk about people who are trying to lose weight and how the most important step you can make is on the treadmill is through the door at the gym. And the same concept is true for the LSAT. You're never going to achieve your dream score by trying to cram it in the night before. It takes that consistency. You see, some students take months, others take years. But whatever your journey is your journey, and the only way to start that is by taking that first step. Truthfully, you just have to start. I know I'm saying an hour a day, but if you can't make an hour a day, do 15 minutes a day. If you can't do 15 minutes a day, do 30 minutes a day. It doesn't matter what you do, but make sure you have a definitive time that you're going to follow even if it kills you. And you stick to it. Make it your time and don't let anyone take it away from you. How many of you have been hated by your boss before? Well, I can tell you for one, we understand the concept. And when you're hated by your boss and you're trying to be pushed out, all you can think about is the things you want to say and how you just want to defecate through a sunroof and blow everything up. However, in one of my jobs, I had a mentor. And that mentor told me about their mentor who told them this truth. Have your base. And don't let anyone take it away from you. If your start time is 8 a.m., be there at 8 a.m. If your finish time is 5 p.m., leave at 5 p.m. If there's a minimum level of work required of you, you do that minimum. Don't give them a reason to fire you. Instead, have your base and don't let anyone in your life take that away from you. Not your boss, not your coworkers, not your bully Jeremy, right? Only you get to decide what your base level is. You got to make them work to fire you. And while you're not going to get fired on the LSAT, you are going to have to learn that there's always going to be reasons to not study for this test. You're going to be too tired, you're going to be too overwhelmed, your friends, your family, your children, they're going to want your attention. But you have to realize that the LSAT is more important than any of those things in your life. It's your day one, and you can't abandon your day ones just because things get tough. And it's not just yourself you're going to have to deal with. It's all the bozos in your life that are going to try to take this away from you. You're going to have to deal with people in your family saying, why are you even studying for this test? You're never going to make it. You're never going to, Pearson Specter Lit. You're never going to be in New York City in that big law job. Just give up already. But it's not just going to be the haters. It's going to be the actual people who are still in the profession. The old people who are lawyers and tell you that, well, back in their day, law school was 3 nickels and a soda pop and a stick of gum. So why are you worried about scholarships and getting a high LSAT score? Just go to whatever school and you'll be able to afford it. Well, unfortunately, Grandpa, those days are gone. Now, instead of a soda pop, it's an arm. Instead of 3 nickels, it's 2 legs. And you only have 2 legs. So you're going to need to figure out how to get a good LSAT score, or else you're not going to have any limbs left. Not to mention your friends. These are the type of people that are going to come up to you and say, bro, why are you even going to law school, dude? All they do is they just look at papers and read and write things. Dude, I saw this guy on Instagram. He was selling this course. He said, if I just start drop shipping, and worst of all, your mentors. They say never meet your heroes, and it's true. Every single lawyer I've talked to about the LSAT has said, oh, just take it. Everyone just takes it. Nobody studies for the exam. Why waste your time? You're going to do great. That is a lie. They haven't seen the fact that law school admissions are up 60% from last year and even higher from the year before that. They haven't seen the fact that law school medians have risen to a point of absurd. They haven't seen the fact that University of Virginia, their GPA median is above 4.0, right? These are not the conditions that they had to deal with, so don't take their advice for it. Focus on yourself. Bottom line is, don't let them take those 30 minutes away, that hour away from you. I don't care if it kills you. You dedicate that time to this test and you study for it. And that's what's going to help you improve. Now, why am I badgering so much on this 1 hour a day? Well, it has to do with the fundamental concept of the test, which is that quality is more important than quantity. You see, some people think if I just take enough practice tests, I do enough drills, I do enough questions, I'm going to see that improvement. Wrong. You don't improve by doing questions at this test. You improve by solving questions and reviewing your mistakes when you aren't able to solve them. That moment when your brain clicks, that second when the LSAT question just seems so obvious, that's progress and that's improvement, not just doing 100 questions in a row. 1 high quality hour a day beats 8 hours of just going through the motions. And take it from me, I tried every single LSAT test strategy in the book. I studied 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 30 minutes a day, 4 hours a day. And truth be told, I didn't really improve when I started increasing my quantity. It's only when I really honed in on the quality that I saw progress. There's 2 additional reasons why studying for the LSAT in a shorter time frame is actually more successful than studying for it for 8 hours or more. The first reason is that the LSAT is a mentally strenuous and taxing exam. It takes a high level of mental focus and clarity and mindset to be able to actually read and understand these questions and then to be able to learn from them, right? You could get a question right, not really understand why, and just waste your time. But to really improve, you need to have a high level of mental clarity, and that only comes from being refreshed and taking breaks and studying for something like an hour a day. The second is reviewing is easier if it's shorter. This is a topic I'll go into in a future session of the playbook here, but when you're reviewing, you want to do it as soon as possible from when you finish those questions because you want to be able to meta-think. Meta-thinking being thinking about your thinking about the ways in which you were processing the question when you were answering it during the test or section. And when you study for an hour a day, you still have that mental capacity to go back to those questions, right? If you do a 35-minute drill, right, and then you review for the 25 minutes after, your mind is still in it, you can get progress and value out of it. My final plea to you is this: just study for 1 hour a day. Just like the video that this outfit and entire setup is based off of, right? You buy $1 of Bitcoin, that stock goes up. You study 1 hour a day, your stock goes up. Your LSAT score, your law school prospects, all because you decided to treat this like a marathon, not a sprint. You decided to be the Giga Chad tortoise, right? And not the chud and not the loser hare, right? Because you understand how this test works. You do that 1 hour for a day, then you do it for a week. You do that 1 hour for a week, you do it for a month. You do that 1 hour for a month, You do it for 6, and all of a sudden, you're going to be so much further ahead than you can even imagine. You won't be burnt out because you're not pushing yourself to the limit every day. You're still able to see your friends. You're still able to go to work, right? When I studied for the test, I worked full time, right? And I went to school. I only was able to do that because I realized if I study, 2, 3 hours a night, I'm going to die, right? Because I'm not going to be able to handle all that. Also, if you're that exhausted, you're not going to be able to mentally understand the questions. Focus on an hour a day. It keeps the LSAT hounds away. You will be amazed at the person you will be if you follow that plan. But if you're interested in learning more and mastering the LSAT to an even higher degree than I just discussed today, or how to use that 1 hour a day the best possible way you can, click the link in the description below. Also, stay tuned. I just did a cursory review of a number of topics, all of which I plan to cover in this series and on this channel. So if you're interested in that, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, keep that engagement going because it means that you guys want to see more and I'd love to make more. I founded LSAT Defenders because I believe that anyone with the right knowledge and approach can improve at this test. And you and everyone watching is no exception. So, as always, don't get robbed. Get and keep what's yours.